Wow, it's a beautiful evening and good evening to you everyone who is watching. The host is Brenda Mahoro, and it should be noted that Western culture is taking over our traditional culture, the way we dress, the way we talk, the way we discipline and all the morals. But culture is simply the way of life of any given people that is transmittable from one generation to another. It is incorporated issues that bother on technology development, language, marriage, mode of dressing, arts and craft, food, festivity, religion, social life, education, and the political system of the people. But today we are delighted to have amazing people in studio, and they're going to be introducing themselves. Very happy to see you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Let me begin from my right here. Please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, why are you here, and go on.
A very good evening. My name is Grace Waiswa Nsawa, and I am a student at the School of Law. I am the former president of the Makerere Law Society, and I am a student member of the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity.
Wow.
The Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity has partnered with the Uganda Youth Forum with support from the First Lady to organize the National Youth Convention, and that is the reason as to why we are here, to talk about the convention and to elaborate more about the changing times and unchanging values. So I am very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to interacting with all of you.
Oh.
Yes, good evening, dear viewers. I am Opolote Emmanuel Solomon, a fourth-year student of law from Makerere University, and I am the chairperson of the Student Organizing Committee for the National Youth Convention, the reason as to why we are here today. And we are so glad that we have been accorded audience to be able to share with you, dear viewers, about the National Youth Convention. God bless you all.
Wow. So let's begin with the topmost: changing times and changing values. First of all, what does it mean? Why did you have to choose this topic in all the topics? Before we go there, let's first talk about, because in this youth convention, the fourth annual youth convention, we are seeing Uganda Youth Forum and we are seeing Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity. What does this mean altogether?
Well, thank you very much, dear host. The third National Youth Convention is happening following previous conventions. We had the first that happened on 5th August 2021 and was followed by another that happened on 2nd December 2021. And this has been an initiative under a partnership of the Uganda Youth Forum and the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity with support from the Office of the First Lady. The Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity is a non-government organization that started way back in 1987 as a student fellowship at Makerere University as the Christian Fellowship, and eventually got incorporated in 2005 as a non-government organization. So today, as we speak, the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity brings together 500 Christian lawyers who believe in Christ. And so because of that, it is an organization that has a wide footprints across the country. And the Uganda Youth Forum, the other organization that is in partnership with the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, is an organization that started in 1992 and was started by the First Lady, Mama Janet Kataha Museveni. At the time when the Uganda Youth Forum was started, there had been a rise in challenges that were affecting the young men and women, the youth at the time, aspects around sexuality, and there needed to be a platform that would address and create a platform where young men and women would share and be able to ground themselves on the true principles in protecting the sexuality. But apart from the sexuality, there's also the whole aspect of training young men and women in aspects surrounding values and behavior change in society. And that is how the Uganda Youth Forum started then.
Wow. So you talked about everything, Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity and Uganda Youth Forum. So let's talk about Mr. Opolot and Sawa.
Yes.
Sawa. Right. So please talk about this thing, the changing times and changing values. What does it mean generally?
Well, from the beginning of these conversions, the series of conversions, there has been attraction of following different values, different social ethics that are valuable for the growth of young people and for the development of these young people. It is incumbent upon us as stakeholders, and when I say us, I mean the non-government organizations like UCLF and Uganda Youth Forum. I talk about the government of Uganda, I talk about the people themselves, to nurture young people to become that which we hope for in the future. And so that is why we are bothered to discuss changing values and changing times and changing values or unchanging values, emphasizing the fact that even when times have changed, the values remain resilient and will always be the center of one's development in society and the center of one's acceptability in society. That the values of integrity, of hard work, of sexuality, proper conduct in society have not changed. Even in the 80 years before the coming of the missionaries, before the coming of the Christianity, these values were embedded in our society. But because of the new trends of social media, because of the new trends of technology, the development has so much changed that young people are being derailed away from this, which is very important, the observation of values and morals in society. So Uganda Youth Forum and Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity have partnered with the First Lady to look at that, to provide a platform for open discussion for the young people to discuss that which is important to them, the values that are respectable in society, that are acceptable in society, and that will allow them to fit in the environment of the future. And when I talk about the future, I'm talking about the professional environment. Because you know that we will go to the workspaces, and in those workspaces we're expected to fit in with particular values that we must uphold. For example, integrity, for example, hard work, for example, determination, for example, resilience, and accountability, both to self and to others. And this is why we have looked at changing times and unchanging values for this conference. Wow.
So Mr. Opolot and Mr. Answa, I was looking through what the first and second and third annual conversion you guys had. You guys talked about entrepreneurship, you talked about soft skills, you talked about everything. Yes. So to someone who is watching us right now, or to the youth, because right now in Uganda we are 77% of the youth. So who is watching us out there, like, could you talk to them more? What is this youth conversion, like an introduction to the youth conversion?
All right. Yes, thank you very much, our dear host. The National Youth Conversion, as we stated earlier, had its first the first footing on 5th August last year. This was a time when the COVID-19 pandemic was still at its peak. And because of that, you know, very many young men and women were out of school, and you saw many of the reports on how young men and women were being affected by the fact that probably they were not engaged, you know. You remember that saying that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. And so it was important because of the fact that many young men and women were at crossroads in decision making, in choosing what is right and what is wrong. And it was really important that they're given direction. And that is why with the inception of the National Youth Convention, probably you saw that we had the first convention address aspects surrounding ethics and integrity, aspects surrounding sexual purity, because, you know, it is really important that we protect our sexual purity as young men and women. It is really important that we uphold the principles of ethics and integrity to be able to live a preserved life, or a life that is meaningful in society. And so the first convention had a number of speakers that addressed and shared their testimonies surrounding the principles of ethics and integrity, surrounding the principles of sexual purity, and which really impacted greatly on the young men and women that came up, you know, to attend that particular convention. And it is a topic that attracted very many young men and women when it was advertised, because at the time when we advertised, about 5,000 youth registered for that particular national convention, and it really impacted upon very many young men and women in the nation as they were able to testify in different ways. Also, for the second National Youth Convention that was held on 2nd December last year, it was hosted at State House in Entebbe. The first was hosted at Kololo Independence Grounds. We had the theme around entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. So in entrepreneurship, we had lots of people, lots of speakers who came through to share with the young men and women different principles that have helped certain societies grow or economically and prosper, or certain men and women prosper economically, but also the aspect of entrepreneurship, probably that had never been so much discussed in many circles, was also discussed, whereby the young men and women were encouraged to remain entrepreneur within an organization. Yeah, for example, where you look at Family TV, the brand of Family TV, a very great idea, and yet you can choose to innovate or bring about an idea within Family TV that actually expands Family TV the more, and that is what was surrounding the aspect of intrapreneurship. So intrapreneurship connotes you being innovative within probably an idea. So like Family Life, Family TV, probably you being innovative within Family TV and expanding the vision of Family TV. So we really had a great interaction that day, and for a fact, I've personally been able to meet a young man from Uganda Christian University called Musinguzi Dennis, who started up a business at school because of that entrepreneurship, you know, session that he attended.
Of the third convention.
Yeah, the second, because of the second convention. Yes.
Right there, we're going to start from the testimony.
Right.
Let's get into a short break, but we're coming back.
Thank you.
Scheduled to take place on Friday 27th May 2022 from 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. at State House in Entebbe, which will be live on Zoom and streaming on the First Lady of Uganda YouTube channel. This year's convention is under the theme, Our Future, Our Values, Navigating Through the Shifting Moral Culture. The host will be Mama Janet Kataa Museveni, the First Lady of Uganda and the Minister of Education and Sports, featuring Pastor Wilson Bugembe and Stephen Case, among other keynote speakers. Don't miss it for anything.
Welcome from that short break here. Proverbs 31:9 says, "Speak up and judge fairly, defend and rights of the poor steadily." Yeah, today we have the UCLF, yes, and then Uganda Youth Forum. Speak up. So when we went in for a break, you're still telling us that from the first, second, third youth convention, you've had testimonies. So you were sharing us those testimonies. But probably someone who is watching us from outside there would be like excited to come to the fourth annual youth convention.
The third, actually.
Third, it's not the fourth?
The third. We have had two so far.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is the third that we are advocating for. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So as we went into the break, I was hearing about some of the testimonies that came through because of the attendance of the first and second National Youth Convention. I know for a fact that a number of young men actually resolved, you know, to choose to live a life of integrity. Yeah, from the feedback that we got out of those who streamed live the first National Youth Convention, some of the young men were actually surprised that there could be people who would be advocating for integrity and ethics. And you know, the more louder, you know, information from probably the evil world comes into someone's life, and they do not have an opportunity to feed from the right side of it. Yeah, they may think probably the evil world is the right world. So many of the young men who were reacting online were actually surprised that there could be such intellectual discourse of integrity and ethics, sexual purity. You know, young men and women were actually so happy about the very first convention. And as I said, in the second convention, I was talking about a young man called Dennis Musinguzi in Uganda Christian University, who started a business in the university, an entrepreneurial initiative in the university as a result of attending the second National Youth Convention. But also, we got to hear from a young lawyer who is a state attorney called Edwin Amanya as well. I think he's attached the office of the DPP, who used the best of his time, apart from dispensing legal service, to also, you know, create business initiatives, you know, and that was as a result of the second National Youth Convention, because as it says, he was really inspired by the fact that the speakers asked the members to start now. You do not have to wait probably to have 500 billion shillings in order to start an initiative, you know. So he chose to start instantly, you know, with each and every idea, and that is one of the themes that came through in the second National Youth Convention. And I believe with the third National Youth Convention that is going to address the issues of values, I believe very many young men and women, not only in Uganda, but the entire continent of Africa and the entire world, will get an opportunity to stream, will actually be positively impacted upon listening to these great testimonies.
Wow, thank you for giving us those testimonies. Of course, talking about everything that has been talked about, the youth forum, Uganda Youth Forum, their cultures, and I think you're going to be tackling about that, like this, because I talked about culture. Culture is simply the way of life, any given people, that is transmittable from one generation to another. So what are those indicators of moral degeneration that you're seeing that the youth are portraying out there?
Yes, you said it right. You said that culture is representative of that which moves from one generation to another. And so this is why we have actually chosen to say unchanging values, because the values persist over time. But do we respond in that direction, in line with the changing times? So the point here that we are making is that even in the past days, the values that we are advocating for now were important then. For example, we talked about integrity. The indicators that there has been a degeneration of morals in the line of integrity is that we have more cases of corruption, now in our society. And this is not, we think that corruption is perpetrated by only the older generation. But even our generation, the small things that we do, at the university you are contesting and you have to pay off people to vote for you, and even the voters themselves, it's not that it is only the politicians who want to pay, but even the voters themselves want the money. Yeah, people will come to you, and you know, in our university we call it what, bread, mugati. Yeah, they will not vote for you unless
even the students themselves will be like, if you don't give us mugati, of course we're not going to.
Muogo,
yes, you know,
muogo. Can you imagine?
And this is not only because we are in university. You'll find that even in the primary schools, the kindergartens, the kids will not vote for their class monitor or their leader whatsoever, prefect, without them giving out sweets. Yeah. So that is an indicator that our generation, this 21st generation needs, or this 21st century needs to be, the issue of integrity needs to be addressed. Yeah. The other indicator is the increase in crime rates. Yeah. You find that because Uganda is 77% youth, young people below the age of 35, you find that if you go to those prisons, we do a lot of outreaches in prisons, and you find that many of those people who are in prisons are young people between the age of 18 and 35, or even just in the youth stages, and they are the people that are stealing, yeah, because of the high demand for sustainability and survival, yeah. But even when we are saying, as Uganda Youth Forum and as Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity in the National Convention, with support from the First Lady, we are saying that even when we get to that level of struggle for sustainability and survival, the values of integrity must subsist, and that they must not change. We are saying that, can you still observe the values of the values of society, even in the face of temptation, even in the face of challenges that subsist in our environment? Yeah. Substance abuse is one of the indicators of moral degeneration. You find that our generation has glorified, yeah, people who are abusing substances. Yeah. You find that people are taking marijuana, chewing at miraa. Yeah. They're using cocaine and etc. And they're saying, I cannot perform in class very well unless I have loaded. Yeah? That is how bad it has become. And we also think it's okay, you know. We say, you know, as long as you're using coke, a little. Yeah? So as long as it gets to that level where society starts to appreciate evil and normalize evil, we have lost it, and we have degenerated morally. And the National Youth Convention is targeting preserving those values of our societies, of that past generation, and those are the values we want to transfer to this generation and the generations after. Wow,
amazing. So about the incorporate issues that brother maybe we can talk about technology. There is technology. Most of the youth, like 54% right now, are on social media, and I was researching about the most word. Usually there is research about is probably sex. So they don't usually, because I think the generation has demoralized. Those are some of the things that may be indicators of this moral degeneration. So what could be the importance? Maybe it's like Mr. Nsawa has talked about, that the society has appreciated. And they're like, it is okay.
It's medicinal.
It's high crime rate. You've talked about corruption and substance abuse. So what could be the importance if maybe the society could embrace these values and maybe teach them to this generation that is coming up? The millennials will be like, it is really boring. So what do you think that could be the importance if they transfer those values to the young generation that is coming up?
Firstly, thank you very much, dear host. Values, I should say, are preservative. Values, one, preserve society, but also values preserve the individual. Yeah, just imagine how many people have lost their lives because of reckless drivers. Those drivers who do not follow road signage, just the basics that we interact with probably each and every day. You know, lots of people have lost their lives because of, you know, reckless drivers. But also, the very many families that have broken, you know, have broken because of, you know, disrespect among the family unit, you know, and domestic violence and every kind of evil that may be perpetrated in the family. And so what values do is to preserve these units, to preserve the individual, to make the individual wholesome. You know, values can package you. Values can package you above every other person of your generation. If I can give an example, that probably you go out for an opportunity, and maybe there is someone who performed better than yourself, or someone has a first class but without values. Mr. Nsawa earlier showed how even in employment, how the employers treasure the values or the ethics of an individual. And that is why probably you can hear about issues of an employer having the right to summarily dismiss someone from an organization because that individual probably was very, very, very badly behaved or not working well with the other members of the organization. So values are preservatives, you know. Yes, values are preservatives, and also values, apart from packaging you, also, you know, sell you out there, you know. Very many people have lost, you know, great opportunities because of values. Very many people have lost lives because of values. And so we are saying we need to preserve the society. We need to preserve the individual. We need to preserve the society. We need to preserve the church. We need to preserve the families. We need to preserve the education institutions. And you know, this can only be achieved when the values are upheld. Okay? You can only sustain your work, you know, or employment, or you can only sustain yourself because of the values that you uphold. For example, if one is a diligent and hard worker, a diligent and hardworking person, I beg your pardon, many times they will be treasured in an organization because probably they are dynamic, they are flexible, they add something onto the organization, onto the vision of the organization. But if someone probably upholds the negative of values and probably lifts up laziness, disrespect, you know, and does not have any interpersonal relations with different teammates, many times they may be stifled or they may be derailed in whatever they do. So in order for us to have a good identity, it is important that we uphold values. The Bible says that a good name is better than wealth, you know. So very many times, unfortunately, some people have chosen to run for accumulation, rigid, primitive accumulation of wealth, and forgotten their identity, you know. And that is why you look at aspects of corruption, you know. Very many times you have seen the IGG, or the Inspectorate of Government, running after people, or the Auditor General, you know, as well, releasing reports, and you see that some people acted frivolously because of lack of values. So a number of times I know you have seen the courts of law probably charge and sentence. I mean, have someone being charged and someone eventually getting sentenced to a certain period of time in prison and all because of values. So values preserve us. Values preserve the individual. Values preserve the family. Values preserve the society. So it is really important, dear viewers, that we have these ethics or these principles that knit us together as society. And that is why you and me today need to think very intimately and wisely about the decisions we take. And if you have been thinking twice about values, this is the opportunity that you should take to get a grab of values and write them upon your heart. You know, the Lord asking the children of Israel that, you know, let them tie the commands around the neck so that they are reminded always. So probably you need to have an everyday reminder of values, and that is why it is important that the young men and women out there, our dear brothers and sisters, register and come through for the National Youth Convention, because we shall have a litany of speakers who will share from their personal testimonies and share from their experiences on how values have helped their walk. Okay, and we have a number of them, as we shall share later, and these will help us a great deal, you know, in making resolutions to resolve in our hearts, you know, as Daniel resolved. Remember that Daniel had, you know, a resolution and resolved that will not defile himself. So in order to make certain decisions, we need to have certain values, and values help us make fundamental decisions of life.
So let me also write my values on the tablet as I'm going to get some sip of water.
All right. Yes.
A good name is better than wealth. That is what Mr. Opolot said. So me, I'm also going to write it on the tablet of my heart. But you talked about upholding values, and it really triggered my heart or my mind that if we do not uphold values and if we do not preserve them, basically, what is the future? Grace, you have to say about. Today you're going to be a prophet.
What is the future if values are not upheld, or if they are upheld? Because whereas I am a prophet, I'm not a prophet of doom. So I would like to be a prophet of hope. Yeah. The National Youth Convention has come as an initiative to open up the space for young people to discuss the importance of values openly, to discuss sexuality, to discuss integrity, to discuss hard work, to discuss teamwork, and to discuss consistency openly in an open dialogue. And they're not just discussing this amongst themselves, but they are learning from those who have gone ahead of us. That's why we have invited different speakers at the convention to discuss these values and to teach us how they were able to move the journey of life, and how values have been important in their journey. So if at all we are able to hearken to the call of the Uganda Youth Forum and the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, with support from the First Lady, to attend the National Youth Convention, then young people, our generation, shall be enlightened to the fact that even when society seems to be embracing the evil that lies within, this evil is indeed evil, and that it is important for us as young people to say no to these things that are coming and are wasting us away from our principles. I was following a Twitter thread just last week about a football player who is being condemned because he refused to wear a jersey that was representing LGBTQI rights and their colors. And the world was saying, you should apologize. Apologize for believing in what you stand for. You know that is right. What do you know that you stand for, or that is right? So we are saying that even in the recognition that the world is embracing these bad things, we as people who have been groomed in the Christian values and in the Christian norms, we must stand for what we believe in and what we know is right and what the Bible commands. And we should preserve our society from the moral decay. And so the future is in our hands, and if at all we heed to the wise counsel that is being given to us by our elders, and even amongst ourselves, as long as we as a people are able to, because you know, James Clear wrote in a book, Atomic Habits, and he wrote that our environment is the one that determines how we behave, determines our habits. He also wrote that you are the total sum of the peers you keep around yourself. So if you keep around yourself peers who have vices, like substance abuse, like corruption, like fornication, like etc., you'll end up in that same circle. Even if you are the most, the Bible is clear about that. It says, be not deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals.
True.
So the future is bright in that there are initiatives like these. The Uganda Youth Forum has come up on board, reviving the 1990s mission of guiding young people to believe in values that are important in society for their sustainability and growth. And the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity has not only focused on lawyers or law students, but has opened up this space to the many young people out there and invited them to listen in. And you have heard that the first youth convention that we had about 5,000 students attending. Those were not only lawyers, those were biochemists, those were doctors, those were journalists, etc. And those were all paying attention to this message. And also, now it is upon us to register, to come up hither as called, to be able to listen to the message that we're being given. And we believe that marriages shall prevail peacefully, because this is the foundation that we will have gotten. We know that if at all we listen to this message constantly, our offices shall be safe from thieves, from corrupt people. One of the products of Uganda Youth Forum has always been very vocal about the fact that she's an alumnus of the Uganda Youth Forum. She's called Madam Anne Mahaire. She's the deputy IGG, and she's the president of the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity. And so you can see that there are seeds being sprouting out of the efforts of like these, the Uganda Youth Forum efforts and the efforts of the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity. And so if she can be where she is right now, what about us who are just growing through the ranks and are able to listen? And if at all we give ourselves the chance to learn from them, from that example, then we can move forward to a brighter future.
Wow, that's beautiful. So someone out there may be asking, why does Brenda has a paper today? I have a newspaper today because I knew that I'm going to meet up lawyers who have to discuss about this issue that I read. Yeah, there is a story on page 8 in the New Vision that over 10,000 deferment cases were unresolved. So, because I have lawyers in the house, and these cases were acted upon juveniles in Uganda. So how has Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity helped the juveniles out there? How has it impacted the society? Tell us more about this.
Thank you very much. The Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, as I said earlier, has footprints all over the nation. And it has a secretariat that is housed at Baptist House, Bombo Road. And this secretariat has a great capacity of lawyers that are always welcoming people of all walks of life to receive assistance. As we said earlier, this lawyers fraternity started to help or to give a platform for the indigent in society to be able to receive the justice that they deserve, you know, and they speak out boldly for the indigent in society, for those who probably do not have an opportunity to get counsel, and that is what the Christian Lawyers Fraternity offers, you know. And this service that is offered by the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity is free of charge. You know, you will not be asked for. I was
happy about that.
Yes, you will not be asked for consultation fees. Is it, with this fee? No. The moment you access the offices, as long as you have gone there to receive a service, the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity will welcome you with a wide smile and give you a solution. Well, of course, depending on the requirements of a certain case, of course, they will engage you. But as I said, it is a free service that is offered by these Christian lawyers that have come out to strongly give a hand in being a voice to the indigent in society. So, as and when, dear viewers, you have a challenge, a legal issue that probably you need to get helped with, and you don't have the capacity to help yourself, the doors at the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity are open, and they are always and will always remain ajar for those who need help and in our society. And so they will always be helped, and the service is available at the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity. Yeah, in these 4 minutes, Grace, tell us how it may be a youth who has been listening in, or who is going to watch us on YouTube, who is going to find it there. When is this happening? Okay. How can someone register? Is there a payment for someone to join in the third conversion? Is there a scholarship?
It has been cleared by my brother Solomon that the National Youth Conversion attendance is free of charge, and that you are only required to register through the link that is being shared all over. The link is being shared on social media, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on all pages of the Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, the Uganda Youth Forum, and the First Lady herself tweeted about it, both on Facebook, and also wrote about it on Twitter. Yeah, and encouraging young people to click that link and register. The only questions that you'll be asked when you open that link is your first name, your last name, and your college, or your university, and your contacts or email.
What if you don't go to any university?
It is okay. It is okay. We have created centers where the event is going to live stream openly on the screens. School. Also, those who can be able to log to access UBC TV, the convention is always showing on UBC, and even YouTube, we shall be showing it. We have also reached out to secondary schools. You know that these are in school right now, and so we have visited Gombe Secondary School, where the administration has allowed to live stream this from 2:30 to 4 p.m. on Friday 27th of this month, this coming Friday, and they will turn on, and the students will be able to follow on Zoom, on their screens. And even in other schools in Jinja College, etc., they have accepted to do this with us. And so we welcome all young people from all walks of life to tune in and follow the proceedings live from State House in Tebe.
Lastly,
and lastly, you can still contact us if you have a pen, 077-9349-154. Please contact us, and we shall be able to share with you the link that you'll use to register. And also look out for the pages on the UCLF Twitter page, and look out for the First Lady's Twitter page. You'll be able to receive, to get the link that you can use to register for the National Youth Convention. So we are so glad for the opportunity that has been offered to us by Family TV, and it has been one of a kind and always be memorable to us. Thank you, and God bless you all viewers.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Opolot and Mr. Nsawa Grace. Thank you so much. My parting shot is, of course, is what Mr. Opolot said, that a good name is better than wealth. Do you have a good name? Yeah, or are you looking for wealth? That is vanity. Yeah, Brenda Mahoro is my name. I love you so much. Have yourself a beautiful day and a good night.